And I call here Juan. He's going to talk tonight about the power of a quiet in a world of noise, the noise outside the inside. Thank you, Juan.
Hello. Good evening. How are you?
Very good.
Something is happening on that side of the room.
Oh, yeah. They're
Okay.
running for the AC. It's cold.
So this is the quiet side.
They want to get the classes first.
All right. Okay. So thank you for being here. Thank you for deciding to spend some time for yourselves. And I'm thanking myself too for preparing this and be here to talk about silence. Silence is, it's a topic that is very important for me, and it is so because since I came in contact with the practice of silence, I have experienced an enormous change in my evolution, in my spiritual evolution, in my development. It's been kind of like a before and after thing, really. It's been that powerful. So this is a topic that I like very much. And also, because lately we are doing many things around silence here at Broward Spiritist Society. We have had silence retreats, we have meditation every week, and we can experience here too, in the activities that we do in contact with the spiritual world, how important it is to quiet our minds and to get in touch with that silence, with that inner silence, in order to be able to receive and to communicate with the spirit world. So for all of those reasons, I wanted to talk about silence. Now, this is new. It's not working.
That is different.
Manny, there's another one there.
Oh, there?
Okay. So this is all to say, I want to know about your experience with the silence too before, and it's a bit, yeah, it's lower it a little bit. Yeah, maybe better now. Too high. It's echoing my voice. So let me ask you, what is your experience with silence? Somebody want to share their experience with silence? Do you have one?
I did 48 hours. That's the maximum I was able to hold for 40 hours. I went to a retreat in North Carolina for 48 hours, for 2 days.
2 days of silence.
Saturday, yeah, it was like, actually it was a Friday, Saturday.
Okay.
So we went in, they had a like, pretty much of like 5 minutes of like disclosure what it was involved.
Mm-hmm.
And we didn't hurt up people.
And how did you feel?
For the first, I would say 2 hours, I was thinking I was going crazy,
Uh-huh.
nuts. But after that, it was just like very different. It's like my thought process and what I was going through from my own thoughts with myself.
Mm-hmm.
It was surprising because I remember about a lot of stuff from like a long time ago, like when I was in my mid
Mm-hmm.
15, 12, that completely blocked out.
Yeah.
Came for, like,
So
the
things
back
that you don't even know that you knew,
Yeah.
they come up.
Yeah.
That's one of the
Yeah.
things that happen.
And it was funny because one of the things actually explained something that
Mm-hmm.
later on happened to me, and I was having a reaction about something,
Mm-hmm.
and I couldn't figure out why. And then it was
Yeah.
funny that
Nice.
the second day,
Hmm.
that was, gave me that
Good.
explanation. It was a good thing.
Good thing.
Yeah.
Okay. Anybody else experience with silence you want to share? Good, bad, neutral.
When I started learning English in Australia,
Mm-hmm.
I decided to keep quiet because I couldn't speak properly and I felt
Okay.
embarrassed. So I realized that was one good experience
Uh-huh.
And sometimes I spoken impulsively
Uh-huh.
and got in trouble.
Okay. So you became more aware
Yes.
of the things that you were saying and the things that you were thinking,
Yeah, exactly.
thanks to giving that space
Yes.
through silence. Okay. Okay. Um, what about Manny? Maybe there's another one there. If someone can handle it to me. Yeah, Rafa. Oh, here. So awkward silence. You know what that is? Have you experienced that? Yeah, I see nodding. Anybody wanna share? Thank you.
I love awkward silence.
You like it?
I like it.
Okay.
Because, the spaces that I facilitate at work when people talk about race, awkward silence are pregnant with possibility.
Possibilities.
Yeah,
Excellent.
there's a question and then there's that opposite. I love it.
Uh-huh.
Just sit and wait.
So something may happen that otherwise would not.
If I open my mouth,
Mm-hmm.
I don't let the silence finish, I cut off the
You
process.
kill that. Excellent. That opportunity. But not everybody feels good around awkward silence, right? Someone.
I don't know what it is.
You don't know what it is. You know, I was gonna say, like, you get on an elevator and you with somebody, you don't know what to say. It's maybe your neighbor or someone you know, but maybe you don't know that much. Or like Kara was saying, you're in a meeting and then everybody shuts up and you're like, well, who's gonna say something? You know, that silence where you feel.
Even if you're on a party that you go but you don't know anybody and you get put it in the corner and there is nobody talking to you.
That's not the spontaneous, the circumstance.
Yeah.
Like,
Right.
Yeah, it's not.
Yeah.
It's not.
Wrestling.
You don't decide
yeah.
that. Let's say you don't decide that.
Okay, gotcha. Okay, those silence really exists because
Mhm.
even through guided meditation, like last week I was here doing meditation with you,
Yeah.
and there's always a line of thoughts.
Mhm.
It's always there. I never was able to be in complete silence, to tell the truth.
Mhm.
Does it exist? Are you able to be completely silent, like with your mind?
There's a moment. Yeah, where you can be when you're in the present moment. There are some moments where no thoughts come to your mind. Yes, that exists. If we get technical, is that complete silence? Does complete silence exist? I don't know. This is something I define as silence, which is, there's always activity, and I don't think there's a way that there can be no activity at all. But there can be a way that you are completely still. That exists. Yeah. We're going to get into that a little bit. So I'll come back to that. Have you experienced awkward silence?
Oh yeah, it's like a dinner party.
Uh-huh.
All of a sudden, there's no conversation. Then
But let me guess, you're okay with that?
no, I'm not.
No, you're not.
No, because
Okay.
it's awkward. Like you're with a group and all of a sudden everybody's
So how do you react?
how I think about something, remember something, and bring the conversation back.
And you bring the conversation back? Okay. So we have different ways of approaching silence. Some people, and I guess this is common, we've all experienced that, feel awkward around it and want to finish it. And some people think, oh, this is an opportunity for something different to happen. So opening space. Then there's voluntary silence, like Sueli was talking about. You decide, you go into silence. It could be for 2 days like her. It could be for more. It could be for less. It could be for 30 seconds. It could be anything. So my question again, have you experienced voluntary silence?
Yes, but like I said before,
Mhm.
there is a voice inside of your
Mhm.
head. There's your thoughts.
So you can't stop that.
No, I can't.
Okay. Okay. You haven't done it yet. Okay. Haven't stopped that yet.
Juan, could you clarify, please, when you say awkward silence or voluntary silence, are we talking about noises that happen outside of our body or like the noises that happen inside of our head, like the chatter? Could you clarify?
I mean, this is an open-ended question, but
Because that achieving silence, through not speaking is one thing.
Mhm.
Achieving silence with hands is completely different.
but that's a good point. Do you think that there's like an order there? I mean, do you see that it's a step-by-step process where first you need the external silence to be present in order to start working on the internal silence, right? So this voluntary process, this voluntary silence, this is something you decide to do first, as she was saying. What is your name? Cassie. Cassia. As Cassia was saying, you decide to, for whatever reason, you decide, I'm not going to speak. And then something starts to shift when you decide that, for you and for everybody else. And then you can do certain things, and we'll see some, to start silencing your inner thoughts as well. Or at least you can start to slow them down, and you can start to observe them. They may keep on coming, but you can, instead of interacting with them, you can start looking at them, just looking at them, nothing more. And then they will pass, and another one will come, and you just look at them, and they will go, because everything goes, everything passes. There's nothing forever, and it's a process, right? So I'll tell you a little bit about my experience with voluntary silence. And some of you know this, and I did some time ago a talk about my experience at the Vipassana meditation, and that's a 10-day retreat. It's 10 full days, complete silence. Yeah, it's amazing. It may be hard at times. It depends on the person. It's different for everybody. But basically, you go there and you give your cell phone on the first day. They put it on a Ziploc, and they ask you, amongst other things, not to talk to anybody with verbal or non-verbal communication. So for 10 days, it's no verbal, no non-verbal communication, and mostly meditation. And as I said before, it's a before and after. It's like, one of those pictures that you see. Maybe you see I'm pretty bald now. If I go to one of those treatments, you may see me with a lot of hair in a few months. Well, spiritually, that's what happened at that retreat. Again, this is my experience. So it is different for everyone. And I know it's difficult sometimes to say, wow, 10 days, how am I going to do that? I have to work, I have family, I have my pet, I have, commitments. I can't even think about 10 days. Well, closer to home, as I was saying, we have tools here. We have the meditation, we have the retreats, the silent retreats, but you don't even need to do that. Even closer, at your house, you can start working on silence. And as I said, we'll see some tips on how to do that. But before, I want to ask you, do you think there's a purpose on silence? Is there a purpose to it? And what would it be? What do you think?
I think for you to discover things that your mind and your life is so busy sometimes, you don't pay attention to certain things. And when you quiet yourself, silence yourself, you pay attention to what it does. It's sometimes it's right in front of you, but you don't.
So discover things that may be in front of your nose, but you can't see when your mind is busy.
Mind's crazy busy.
Okay? Aligning yourself. Somebody else has an idea?
connect yourself,
Connect to yourself.
others, but mostly yourself.
Mm-hmm. Connecting with yourself. Okay. So it goes, it seems out of what you're saying that it can be a tool for self-knowledge, right? To know oneself. Silence can be a tool for that.
I would like to know if there is any negative points for, because we are humans that need the connection.
Mm-hmm.
Not exactly just with ourselves, but we need connect with everybody.
Mm-hmm.
And I am thinking about if it's something is negative because in the psychiatric issues can develop it, or people can thinking too much just in the problems, and no, don't find any way to escape the
Yeah.
problems.
Well, I think it's the other way around. So we'll see some studies where silence has been used to treat things like ADHD, and it has had an effect on the patients. So we're not talking here about becoming, doing a vow of silence for the rest of your life and not talk to anybody. It's like, say, like if you decide that your physical health is important and you have to go to, say, you have to go to the gym to do that, everybody understands that the first day you go to the gym is going to be difficult, and then the second day it'll be a little easier, and the third day a little easier, and then you have to keep it up. Once you get to a good physical health, you have to keep it up. If you stop going to the gym, then that's going to go down. Everybody understands that. We all understand that. It's a little harder to understand with things that we cannot see physically that easy, and our emotional state, our mental state, our spiritual state. That's one of the things that it becomes harder to realize that. But we need to work on it. We need to work on our emotional health. We need to work on our spiritual health. And silence is one of the tools that we can use for that. It's easy to understand, and we've all experienced that, how if we have a headache, we take a pill, and that pill is gonna lower our headache or get rid of it. But it's very difficult to grasp the fact that if we have a practice of silence, where we keep on practicing and get to a healthy point, what we're gonna do is we're gonna prevent that headache from appearing. That's difficult to understand, but that's the way it works, and it's been proven. So many of the things that I'm gonna bring here today are scientific. They come from scientific studies. So I want to give you an overview of benefits of silence and benefits that science has been testing. Silence helps to improve brain functions. Now, our brain is working 24/7, right? And the noise that accompanies that working 24/7, our thoughts and everything we try to connect to, and all the inputs and all that, in a big part, it's noise. And that noise gets in the way of us processing things. They did a study on one of these Vipassana retreats, these 10 days of silence retreats, with 100 scientists. Basically, the scientists were the subjects in this study, and they tested certain parameters for them. Like, they realized they had increased sensitivity, sight, hearing, physical sensations, their thoughts, intentions, and emotions. They measured all of this, and it was increased after 10 days. I can tell you my experience, it is like this. And Sueli, just with 2 days, she realized and how many things that you may have blocked from your memory, from your emotions, they start pouring in, and you can see more, you can hear more, everything. Even on the 10th day, when you can start speaking to people again, it's tough because you don't want to talk that much. You have to be careful. You have to go slow on that, going back to talking. Because imagine your senses are, as it says here, they're increased. Your sensitivity is increased, so it's a shock at that moment. Now, silence helps with focus, with alertness, memory, skills, and attention. I want to dare you to do a test, and this is something I did these past days. It's very interesting. Try to do I called it an active silence test. And an active silence test is you take 30 minutes at any point of the day. Of course, you don't have to hold meetings or anything like that. You need to talk to people. But, doing your things, going about your things, and take those 30 minutes to quiet your mind and only focus on whatever you're doing at that specific time. And it takes a while because your mind goes to, I have to call this person, I have to buy this thing, I have to pay this account. Try actively for those 30 minutes to not do that and to focus on what you're doing. Maybe you're driving, maybe you're walking with your pet, maybe you're doing laundry, cooking, doesn't matter. It's super interesting. I'm not gonna say more about that. I challenge you to do it. Silence promotes objective thinking. Thinking, what is thinking? Thinking is using our mind to produce thoughts. So we do this process by which we take our mind, we produce a thought, and the thought comes, and that's thinking. And we can have more kind of objective thoughts and more kind of subjective thoughts. So thinking about, whatever it is, a promotion that you're seeking, or a meeting that you have with somebody, or a family member that you're gonna get in contact with. You may get inputs about that, and you may think about that meeting or about that encounter, and typically what we tend to do is we tend to see it the way we want to see it, the way it's good for us, or it's in our interest, or in our desire, and then our thoughts become more subjective, and a little they are more away from, let's say, reality, or something that we can call more objective, right? Those thoughts are more based on emotions than on facts, and they are biased, as I say, towards our interest. What happens then is that when that interaction happens, we tend more to react than to act. So based on those thoughts that are biased towards our emotions, we react to situations. Now, when we manage to have more objective thoughts, we can act instead of reacting. It just becomes easier. So again, silence helps to get more of the objective thoughts and less of those subjective thoughts. And that can help us in conflict situations or potential conflict situations, etc. Silence can regenerate brain cells. They did kind of found this by accident, trying to look for something else. They did it in Duke University. They did a very interesting study with mice. They subjected the mice to 4 different kinds of noises. So baby calls, baby mice calls, music, white noise, and silence. And then they studied the reactions and they studied their brains. And it was by chance, but one of the things they discovered was that the cells in the hippocampus of the mice, they were growing and expanding. And this is an area that we use for memory and other cognitive processes. So out of that study, they decided to expand this into the human brain. And when the neuroscientists, they test, and they've been doing that for quite a few years now, when they test people who are in silence, in inner silence, so meditation, deep meditation process, in the machine, there's only one area, like around here, that gets light. It starts flashing with activity. And it's on the frontal lobe. So the area of the brain that we use for the more higher processes and higher thoughts and more complicated tasks. It's not the primitive area of the brain. They call that cellular silence, because on their images, it shows very clearly how only that small part of the brain is light up. When that person gets out of the silence and into thoughts again, so those thoughts that keep on coming, everything is like a fair, so lights all over the place. And that practice of silence has the ability to, one, expand our area of the brain which is involved in this process, which can help us to, again, gain brain power for those higher processes, more elevated processes. And it creates new paths, new neural paths. So it's a process that you can start doing little by little, and that will help you reshape your brain in that sense. Silence treats anxiety disorders. This is what I was mentioning before, quickly. What it does is it eliminates the feeling of threat and danger and decreases the heart rate. So with that, silence is going to eliminate unnecessary thoughts that most times are unhealthy thoughts. And these kind of thoughts that are involved in these processes of anxiety and ADHD, and they have tested it with patients on very short spans of silence, because they can't really get to, let's say, 10 minutes of silence or 15 minutes of silence. It does not happen with these kind of patients. But just the very small spans of silence have helped to treat these diseases. And it also, there's a 2015 study where they proved that silence helps with your sleep, with the quality of your sleep. And that's very important too. Now, to the benefit that shocked me the most, probably, and that I think it's super important for all of us here today. Because at the end of the day, where are we? We are in a spiritual school, so we want to know how to work on our spiritual development, right? Now for this, to tell you about how silence can help us correct bad behavior, bad habits that we have, and we talk a lot about that here. I want to do a test with you. I want to propose you to do something. So please think about a bad habit that you have. Probably it came very quickly to mind. And right now, try to connect with that bad habit, whatever it is, different for each one of us. So I'll give you a few seconds of silence for you to connect with that bad habit. Just observe the habit. Okay, now that you have observed the habit, ask yourself this question. Would I like to change this habit? Okay, I see some thumbs up, but now I want you to go back to that connection. Look at the habit and be honest with yourself. Honestly, do I really, really want to change that habit? Have I made the decision to change the habit? Have I decided, oh, I'm going to change this habit? Have I done that? Because now I see some thumbs down. Okay. Again, it's my experience, and this is what this shocked me so much. It's my experience that when I connect to that bad habit that I really want to get rid of, that I know it's bad for me, I know it's making me waste time or health or whatever, and I get to that point, but I look at it, and if I'm really, really honest, I say, just a little longer. I can, just maybe next week, maybe next month, maybe, I know it's bad. I know it's bad, but I'm not ready. There's something which it's preventing me to really honestly make that decision, to say, no, I'm over, I'm done with this. Now I'm moving to the next one, but not this one anymore. And this takes me to a question from the Spirit's book that I get to that question very often. It's 909 that says, I'll read it to you. It says, are an individual's own efforts enough to vanquish their bad tendencies? So can I just, by my own efforts, change that bad habit? Can I do that? And you know what the spirits replied? They said, yes, absolutely yes. And furthermore, they said, it's easy. So how come I can't? Well, now it comes the caveat. They said, it's pretty easy in terms of effort. You don't have to do a big effort. What you need is will. You need the will to end that. And that's exactly what I have. And that's why this shocked me so much, and I think it's very powerful, because now science comes to tell us, well, you can use silence to grow that will. Silence can be your pill for will, let's put it that way. And all of those studies that prove and that have connected silence to overcoming justifications and excuses and procrastination and to growing will. And I thought it was amazing. And then there's also in this spiritual path and in the fact that our main purpose here in this world, in this life, is to evolve, is to grow spiritually. And we're talking about changing habits and growing new ones that are better. And to do that, we need space for new things to come in. And some of you have mentioned this, that silence creates space, a space that wasn't there, maybe to see something that is in front of you that you can't see, maybe to be open to a communication from somebody that is next to you, or even from the spiritual world. So that's why silence is so important, and the practice of silence is so important, because it's going to open a space that otherwise, if we keep on we're not going to allow for that to happen, and it's going to take much longer to get to where we're going to get, which is grow and transform ourselves. It's going to be slower, much slower, without silence, to get to that point of transformation. So you may be convinced by now, or maybe not, I don't know. But I'd say you are a little bit, or you're curious, and you say, yeah, but where do I begin? I'm not going to go for 10 days to a retreat. Not right now. Maybe in the future. Consider it. It's really good. And I just want to bring a few tips here. First one is that failure is success when we are talking about silence. There's nobody who is a good meditator or a bad meditator. That does not exist. And the reason why, it's connected to your question, to your first question, about the thoughts that keep coming. Thoughts will always come. So I can't say, oh, I'm a super good meditator because I got 30 minutes of silence, and they were solid, good 30 minutes. Well, on the minute 35 seconds, a thought came. So I had to start again. And that thought, it may come after 30 minutes, it may come after 5 seconds, it may come after 2 seconds. I may have 2 solid, good seconds of silence. And that is good silence. It is. And I bet you've had silence for a few seconds. I bet you have. Yeah. That is silence. That is success. And then failure comes. And then you start again. And that's the way it works. It is the way it works. There's always going to be a thought that comes. But that's the beauty of it. The beauty of it is that that thought, it's what makes us human. We are human beings, and we have thoughts. And we can observe those thoughts in that process of silence instead of interacting with them. Practice mindfulness. Again, this is a process, and this is something that you train, but you can start very, very basic. And as basic as I'm brushing my teeth, and now the machines count the 2 minutes for you. You don't even have to do that. So in 30-minute installments, you can practice mindfulness. Just clear your mind and look, mentally look at that brush and zzz, and be there, be with it. Not with, again, who you have to call or what you have to pay, or, or you can do another exercise. When the cell phone rings or gives you an alert, you get a message, something, our first reaction is pick it up and, respond or look at the message. Take a few seconds, take 5 seconds. The call comes in, just look at it. Oh, it's my mom calling. Okay.
Bad answer. Won't stop ringing.
Look at it. Just or the message. I heard the beep. There's a WhatsApp coming. Okay, interesting. A WhatsApp. Stay there for a few seconds. Those are ways to start practicing mindfulness. Of course.
That would be a little bit hard if my ringtone is alert, your mom calling.
Then
Alert.
Then stay with the observe the alert. Don't judge. Micro meditation, few seconds. Start with 5 seconds, 30 seconds, 1 minute, 5 minutes. You don't need to, you can do it every day. That's the, you know, the important thing. And I'm reading now this book about changing habits, the atomic habit change something, I don't know. Yeah, and it's super clear to me what it says. You don't have to go big, you have to go steady and keep going and keep going, you know, and keep going. So consistency. Yeah. Very small, start very small. It will grow. You can use apps. There's Insight Timer, there's Mind Valley, Calm, Headspace, different apps that you can use. Another practice is walking, walk meditation. That's very good. If you can do that, if you can do it in nature, it's even better. If you can do it with a pet, it's even better. Just that, walk, or do an activity that gets you in touch with your body, like yoga or Tai Chi, and that raises your awareness about your physical body. Curiosity, it's also a tool because the brain is addicted to new things. Our brain is addicted to something new. We always want something new. So you can give your brain something new always if you're in mindfulness. You can give him sensations of your body. You can give him noises that you get or birds. And as you practice that, you'll realize that you go farther and farther. I've been sitting here in this hall in meditation, and I could hear something that was happening on the beach. And, you know, something like that. It grows. And help. There are many resources. Of course, group meditation, as I said, we do that here. But you can go to the internet, YouTube. You can do, there are therapy even, many resources that you can do. And I'd like to finish with this idea. We don't see things as they are, we see them as we are. And this is important in relation to silence, because silence is going to help us to become better. And as we become better, we will see things better. Our reality will be different. Our reality will be more calm. Our reality will have less stress, less anger, less anxiety, and we'll sleep better, and we'll shape it more accordingly. Again, not something that it's going to happen overnight, but it's definitely something all of us, we can do here. And that's my invitation tonight. Thank you.
Thank you so much. There is a reason, right? Why the sages and people with a lot of wisdom, they look for the practice of silence. It's really good for us. Okay, so we have some few announcements here. Hello. They forgot us. The silence. Yeah, let's be in silence. Okay, so a few reminders. Oops. Is this the new one? Or this the new one? No. There you go. So, well, okay. So the messages from the beyond we have in public meetings. You can invite someone to come. You can talk about this. Tell someone that you know they don't